Welcome back to the LCS quarterfinals. Before we go back to FlyQuest versus Golden Guardians, we wanted to take a crack at Champion Select in this playoff edition
interesting.
of dueling drafts. That's right. And as you can see, our bans have already been done. So it's time for me to go for a first pick. And I'm going to go ahead and first pick Jarvan for FlyQuest.
That's an interesting choice you have there. You first pick Jarvan after banning his prime synergistic partner, Galio.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do that, I'm going to take away the only support champion that is available that I believe Olleh will play. And then make you an uncomfortable support since you don't have one to pick now.
Well.
And then the combo with that, I'm going to pick, what do you got? You got Jarvan? We're bringing back out the Urgot.
Well, now that you've picked that, I do not like how JayJ has been playing so far, so I've decided to mitigate some of his struggles. Although I might be baiting you here. Oh, it's both.
That's a cool.
I get two champions in one
You got Kale and Morgana
okay,
in one
not
pick.
bad,
Awesome.
not bad. And now let's go ahead and take Irelia as well.
Interesting, interesting. So you have double flex picks right now. All right, so then for my last pick, I'm going to pick one clear champion, and that's Ezreal. Now, you have a lot of dive, and I pick Ezreal, and now you can't dive Ezreal anymore. I got 3 tanky people. I'm feeling pretty good about this right now.
Yes, yes.
And then to follow that, since I picked this, I'm going to ban out WildTurtle. Let's see here. Let's get rid of the Lucian.
Let's get rid of Poppy. Hauntzer has been kicking too much ass on this. Oh, look at that. We have to ban it twice.
All right, that's fine. Okay, if you're gonna ban Poppy, then my last ban is going to be, what do you have? Dive.
Got Morgana, Irelia, Jarvan.
What would Turtle play with this? Or what do I want him to play? Okay. Let's get this character out of the game.
Okay, let's go ahead and now ban more of Froggen's shenanigans. We're gonna actually get rid of Swain here. So now Lissandra's open. Are you gonna take it with no Swain up?
I don't know. Let me see here. You've banned out the Karthus. Yeah. That's the third ban.
Yeah, that's Karthus. This is Karthus. So I'm trying to get you, Vel'Koz, Karthus, Poppy, Swain. So I want you to take Lissandra. Are you gonna do it? Are you gonna not give Froggen the counter pick?
No, we definitely don't do that right now. I think we definitely do this. Wait. Let's see. I'm gonna switch that up actually. So I'm gonna pick Vlad. Right now he's a flex pick and he's pretty good into Irelia and Jarvan.
Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead, take the Ryze. So now I've got Jarvan, this is Morgana. This is kind of annoying that I get 2 champions here, but I got Jarvan, Morgana, Irelia, Ryze. And now I get to pick my AD carry. Lucian is gone, you have Ezreal. Let's take, Kalista. Let's do Kalista. Where is she?
Kalista Morgana, the weakest lanes ever seen the man.
You've got Ezreal. What are you gonna do about it?
Quick win. All right, so then you have a flex pick Irelia and a flex Ryze right now, and I'm going to counter that with a, oh wait, you banned Poppy, oh
yeah,
no.
Yeah,
the Poppy's gone.
What's up?
All right, so then that brings me to my next choice. It can't be Kennen, because Kennen gets beat up by Ryze. You took the Ryze, and we have the Vlad. So now we need to pick a champion for either Froggen or Hauntzer. What do I like here? I think
S. What starts with S?
we do a Syndra pick, possibly. I'm gonna go with Syndra.
Okay. All right, so I think the drafts are done then.
Right.
Why did you pick yours?
Right, so I picked my first 3 champions. One I feel like if Olleh's Tahm Kench is banned, which is what we needed to do because you're going to first pick him, I need to pick a support that he's comfortable, right? And Galio is banned too. So then his champion pool is kind of limited to what he's able to play, either Alistar or Braum. And I figure he's probably a better Braum than he is Alistar, so we picked that. We have the Urgot jungle because it did really well in the first game. And I kind of wanted just to pick the same draft as we had the first few games. But you're banning it out, which you should because you've lost the last two. So I kind of need to pick a strong mid laner and a strong top laner, but it's hard to tell what you're going to do. And these guys both do pretty well into Irelia.
Yeah, so
we have a strong bot lane.
I mean, you read what I wanted to do. I banned out pretty much everything that screwed FlyQuest the last two games. Galio, Vel'Koz, Karthus as well. Poppy and Swain, just very relevant to this previous draft. And I went with the early Jarvan, which is a big flex pick. Also wanted to have the Morgana because JayJ has not been playing too well. So at least with Black Shield, you can help a lot of your carries. And so by going with Irelia and Ryze as some strong flex picks, not only can they benefit from the Morgana Black Shield, but it forces Froggen to pick a bit of a safer mid laner, which is, I think, what has been a big problem. I can flex this between top and bottom, whatever I need, make sure that Pobelter has a good matchup, and we have a lot of kill pressure in all our lanes. You got the Bind, you got the Jarvan, Stun, Rune Prison, and Kalista to protect JayJ from feeding. So I think we're in a, I'm happy with this one.
All right, I'm curious to see if this is gonna play out.
Yeah, there's no way they do this.
They should change their draft for sure. Like FlyQuest is down 1-2. They definitely should ban what GGS has been doing, and GGS is going to try and get what they just had in previous games. But I hope we get some champions.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, how about let's send it back to the casters so we go to game 4 and we get to see what they do from this. We've taught them what to do.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll see if they take your advice and decide to copy off your homework or if they got something else tucked up their sleeves.
Change it up a little bit, you know?
Yeah, maybe swap a couple things up here and there. Maybe not pick 2 champions at once. I feel like that might have been a little bit of an underhanded move.
That's actually a pretty smart draft.
Yeah,
You
6
just
versus
get 6
5.
champions.
It's
Yeah,
a good draft.
The coach
Get an
just sits
extra
down.
guy.
He's like, you didn't expect this.
You never planned. All along it was me, Kale and Morgana. A bit of a tricky situation for sure, but not one I'm expecting to encounter here this time around. Remember what's on the line. If Golden Guardians win, they're going to semifinals.
They're going to be looking for that. Golden Guardians certainly have looked very good in their wins. You have to give the credit over to FlyQuest, though, that they did have a very strong bounce back. After their initial loss in Game 2, they look good. The question to me, though, is can they actually get Froggen off these hyper carries because he has looked so damn strong on it? And now it's the Kalista taken away. This does leave Varus open, though, that had been getting banned the last 2 games. And Jace, the ban here as well, means that Irelia is open. FlyQuest may want to go for a first pick Irelia potentially here.
Tahm Kench still banned away, not wanting Olleh back on that one. FlyQuest banning out the top laner they've actually picked for the past 2 games. So just saying, nope, nobody's playing that this time around. And for the 4th game in a row, Golden Guardians bans are not going to change.
Okay, so Irelia is available for that first pick if they want it. Ryze also up. A couple of the picks that have been getting banned out quite a lot. The Jace, you know, mixed results, I would say. It's fair to say here for Viper. He hasn't been having, I think, his strongest series. No. Certainly it has been feeling like Hauntzer has been getting the better of him in most of these games, and it will be the Varus. So leaving the Varus up, banning out the Kalista, taking the Varus away, we will see what the answer is going to be here from Deftly and Olleh. They're going to be having to deal with this Varus, and is it even going to be on hit? Is it going to be the lethality Varus that we saw them showcase earlier on?
The important thing is there's no Tahm Kench to go with it. We mentioned in game number 1 when we saw it, this is great with Tahm Kench because of the fact that Varus's immobility is protected by Tahm Kench's Devour. Without that to keep him alive, he is going to have to be very careful this time around, and once again, the dunk bucket returns.
Yeah, 3 straight games. They're allowing them to actually just grab this as their first round of picks on the red side. It just feels like such a strong, consistent engage that they are giving over to Golden Guardians. It's allowing them to find fights whenever they want them, to get turns around these neutral objectives, and they're also being pretty successful in lane, even with that Galio. So we'll see where they're going to go from here. Looking like they want to grab the Braum. So we'll be Braum as well as Varus going up against Galio, plus whatever marksman Deftly does elect to go for. I'm expecting to see more kind of a similar draft to what we saw last time from Golden Guardians, where it is, you know, again, Froggen on that high DPS threat.
Well, we did hear from Crumbs and High Crumbs specifically, who was drafting for FlyQuest, saying JayJ has not been having a great series here for himself so far. Crumbs wanted to see him on something a little bit safer, something that could contribute more easily, but FlyQuest thinks that the pick is not the issue. They're going to put him on the Braum here yet again, but the Irelia will be locked in.
And it is a flex pick, so this could be top, could be mid. And one of the reasons that Crumbs had kind of talked about that pick was that he felt it could put Froggen into a situation where he doesn't necessarily feel comfortable playing some of these scaling champions. Irelia certainly is a champion that can pressure you in lane, can look for all-ins, especially post-6. Certainly very, very strong in that regard. Ooh. But Froggen, he doesn't care. Vel'Koz it is.
Fear here. Froggen answers the call out. He'll make sure that he's on that Vel'Koz yet again, will not give his opponents the opportunity to ban that one away. And you can see Golden Guardians respecting the flex pick, saying, yes, it's very possible Viper could be on the Irelia and Pobelter could be on something else. They do want to ban away Pobelter's LeBlanc. It is a champion that he's already played 4 times over the course of Spring Split. It's a champion that can do very well into an immobile target like Vel'Koz, so they don't want it in this game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they throw another mid lane ban out as well, if they're worried about something like the Lissandra or even the Zoe, which has been pretty strong. Poppy getting banned out tells me Irelia is going top, which I actually think is a bit of a tell. I could be wrong on that, but you know, if I'm Golden Guardians, I'm not banning another kind of top laner there as a result, because I do think that is going to be the matchup. Jace has already been taken out, right? You know, Irelia actually has a lot of trouble into the Poppy. We do have to remember, though, we did actually see a game on the last day of the regular season where it was between these two teams. Irelia got picked, I do believe, and it was Hauntzer actually following Pobelter on the Irelia around the map, avoiding the Lissandra matchup with that Poppy. So even if this is mid lane, this could potentially be a respect ban over to Hauntzer, kind of worrying that he might just follow again and kind of lane swap and play against Pobelter.
The audience getting real hypey for the Heimerdinger. Quick hover there coming out from Golden Guardians. Those who remembered Golden Guardians from last season, even when they were struggling, the wins that they found were off the backs of picks like Heimerdinger and Fiddlesticks in the bottom lane. Unfortunately, we won't get to see it here today. Definitely will pick up the Kai'Sa.
Would be very interesting to see if we got this Karthus. Karthus is going to get locked in. Remember, this can be flex jungle. It is certainly not popular jungle in North America, but I do believe that is where it's going to go. In the LEC over in Europe, we see this pick quite a lot. Broxah having a lot of success on it in their quarterfinals win. Yanko certainly known for the pick on G2, waiting in the semifinals there also. But it has not really been seeing a lot of play in North America, even since those early weeks. Last pick going to be Aatrox, so Ryze and Irelia still can be flexed around. We are expecting this to be Santorin on the jungle, Karthus. Pretty interesting stuff.
Ryze and Irelia solo lanes up against the Aatrox and the Vel'Koz. We know Aatrox is flexible, but Vel'Koz is not. Nobody wants to send the Space Squid up into top lane, keep him in mid, make it so he's safe. He can just sit under the tower, farm things up. Barrier, the summoner spell of choice here for Froggen, looks like. Wants to make sure he's especially ready to go up against both the dives from the Irelia and the ability of Santorin to call in that death laser from the sky. Barrier, when properly timed, can't stop that from being a kill.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very interesting game here. You know, I think a lot of this is going to rest on Santorin's jungle performance. I think he has been strong so far throughout the series, but it can be difficult to actually have much early game pressure on this Karthus. You have to be very on point with how you're actually hitting those Qs. You know, we do see this champion use sometimes to pressure lane simply with the Wall of Pain. You hit level 4, you come in with rank 2 Q, you drop the Wall of Pain, you try to poke people out of lanes. But it is a champion that I think does require quite a bit of practice. It's quite a different style to most other junglers in the meta. And you can get heavily out-pressured and invaded by some of these other junglers, such as Jarvan, who has more early game presence. So we'll see, A, how Santorin deals with that, but B, how the FlyQuest lanes play around having a weak early game jungler as opposed to Elise, which they've been playing with those last couple games.
Right. It's all about the farm for Karthus. I mean, Jarvan has the ability to show up, make you blow summoner spells, and be like, oh man, my lane is super under pressure now. And while Karthus can toss a couple Skittles and maybe send you home, it's usually not going to be with a black and white screen.
They got the matching outfits. Snar matching up with her homie.
They're ready to go, man. The fandom, real, here in the LCS studios. FlyQuest 1, Golden Guardians 2, game number 4 of quarterfinal number 1 here of LCS Spring 2019. FlyQuest chants ringing out from the audience. They want to see this one go to number 5. as the champions make their way out onto the Rift, we have once more a sideline report with Anera.
Thank you, Flowers. Match point for Golden Guardians, and you guys looked incredibly good in the last game. So how's the team going to close this out?
Yeah, everyone's feeling really good. I mean, we knew FlyQuest were going to throw us a curveball in this last game. We kind of expected it. So we're just trying to play chill, play consistent with what we have. And if anything, we have a breather game. So we're feeling good.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, and best of luck to you and the team. Back to you guys.
And the curveball they're talking about, probably that Karthus in the jungle. Also, the Irelia actually making it past bans means a different element to have to deal with there in the mid lane. We'll see how they can do this on the side of FlyQuest. Eyes also on Viper. Remember, as you mentioned last game, in both games 1 and 3, both the games that FlyQuest lost, Viper had a couple pretty critical errors early on in the game. Dying as the Jace bottom side, getting his teammate killed as well, and dying for the first blood in game number 1. JayJ and WildTurtle going to be walking up into that brush, wisely scouting it out.
Yeah, no, Olleh, I believe, actually had to level the Justice Punch. So yeah, he did actually have to start with the E there. Certainly not what you would normally start with at level 1. So they will be a little bit on the back foot as they did get tagged by that Braum Q and thus had to play it quite defensively. Contractz already looking for the invade. Will be late to actually stop the blue buff, but now he spots Santorin. He has the red buff. We'll see if he can even take this fight.
Santorin is winning this one rather easily. Contractz just ended up giving over a Dark Harvest stack, and that's it.
Yeah, I think he actually kind of rushed it a little bit too fast. I'm not positive, but it seemed like he didn't have Flag and Drag back up after coming over that wall right when he ran into him. So, you know, if those abilities aren't actually fully up, you certainly can't take the fight. And yeah, it looked like in review they were, I believe, still on cooldown as he kind of first ran into him. So it does get tagged by a couple Qs and had to be pushed back. Either way, nicely handled there by Santorin. Going to be able to shove him out and now take away some of his jungle camp.
Yeah, you thought you were going to invade the Karthus. Now the Karthus invades you. Santorin stealing some of those small chickens, keeping himself nice and farmed up. Pobelter in the mid lane, finding the stun onto Froggen for a little bit of damage. Escapes the Plasma Fission on his way out.
Yep. I mean, Lay Waste does a tremendous amount of damage if you can actually, you know, hit all those skill shots, and they're going in.
Flash taunt. Olleh's already going to start things off. WildTurtle trying to get himself away. Barely hobbling out of this one. There comes Contractz, looking to make some sort of a play happen. Won't be able to land it just yet. Golden Guardians having to walk themselves out. It's both summoner spells burned by Turtle.
Yeah, that is actually pretty costly, though, for Golden Guardians, because, yeah, sure, you got both of the summoners out of Turtle, you got the heal out of JayJ. Deftly splashes down, both sums down for Olleh, flash down for Contractz as well. And not only that, but they took away the bottom scuttle with their bottom lane, while Santorin was doing top scuttle. And now you have Contractz actually quite far on the back foot, right? You know, he's only now doing his third camp, where Santorin is a couple camps ahead. There's no scuttle for comeback, and that's a pretty tough situation for Golden Guardians to be in early on.
Now, the one thing that you do take away from this is the one summoner remaining from FlyQuest is the flash on the Braum, so there's no summoner spell assistance for Turtle whatsoever. Definitely still having the heal means if they get into a 2v2, there is an edge to the side of Golden Guardians. We'll see if they can play around that, see if they can make something happen in that window.
But as far as gank assistance, you know, having flash on your Braum is going to be quite nice, right? So if you can actually, you know, Q flash in there as Santorin comes around, there is potential to make something happen on that bottom side. But Santorin, I think just in general, is going to be feeling so happy with how these early levels went. The fact that he's able to get the early Dark Harvest and push Contractz out. Contractz fails his gank on the bottom side, gets neither scuttle, and is down a summoner. Means you can pretty much just say, yeah, I'm chilling. I'm going to keep power farming. I'm going to go for 6. Because Contractz can't really get a lot done.
Contractz is 350 gold behind now. He's a level down. You talked about having an early jungler that gets invaded when you have Karthus on your team. Well, Contractz doesn't want to invade him because he'll lose the 1v1.
It's a really rough spot to be in, and now he's kind of camping out, looking to see if they can actually get onto Viper here. But again, this is more time being spent where Karthus can just be farming, and he's actually looking perhaps to go try to take away the Raptors as they do come up again here shortly.
Yep, keeping tabs on those timers is important. As long as you know the spawn, you'll be able to sit down some wards, keep an eye on it, and make sure that that Jarvan stays as far behind the curve of the game as possible. Especially on an early game jungler, if you find yourself 2 levels down, what kind of a play are you going to make if you walk bottom and the support says, why are you so small?
Yeah, exactly. It can be a pretty tough situation to be in, and here he is for those Raptors as expected. They got the vision down on the first trip over, and now he just takes away the full camp here from Contractz. So already 2 successful invades. He's
Level
going to get
5.
another scuttle as they do have lane priority. Contractz is a sad, sad person right now as he is kind of no camps to farm, no place to gank. It's a tough spot to be in. Likely even got spotted by that pink ward. I'm not sure. His pings didn't come out. We'll try to steal back a camp of his own and at least try to even out this experience deficit a bit.
This is kind of what you have to do. When your jungle is just being hard camped by the enemy, you have to head into their territory instead and pray that they don't have it warded up and just collapse on you. Contractz will manage to at least finally hit level 4, but as I said, his opponent already level 5 on the Karthus. Santorin's having a great early game, double his opponent's CS. You can see Contractz thinking about maybe heading towards this bottom side here. Blast cone ready, takes that over the wall.
They will know that Contractz was there if they're paying attention though, because the Raptors were actually leashing, right? So that meant that someone had been around and had aggro, and we'll see if they want to try to go for a dive or any sort of potential play, but Santorin is moving down, and I don't know that they can look for this. Even if Contractz goes in on him, the bot lane of FlyQuest can respond faster.
Contractz thinking about it. Smite comes out. Nice. Contractz just wanted to make sure he stole it away. Flag and drag over the wall. Keeps himself safe from any sort of a collapse from FlyQuest. And for Contractz, it's all about just trying to stay relevant. Don't fall too far behind, and stealing away the big Krug will help on that.
Not the situation you want to be in at all, though, and really well done there by Pobelter. I think that Froggen was expecting the full-on all-in to come out.
Yep.
But Pobelter goes forward, does not expend ultimate, does not expend ignite, gets the barrier from Froggen, so now there's much more potential of that full all-in solo kill that he's going to be wanting to look for, and he can even wait for Santorin to hit 6, which will happen before Froggen has his barrier back. Then Karthus just ults from the jungle, you go forward with the ultimate from Irelia, double Q, ignite, and that's maybe enough to just kill the Vel'Koz from full.
Remember, it was Pobelter who got solo killed for first blood in the last game, Syndra versus Vel'Koz. We'll see if he can catch Froggen unawares in the same kind of a fashion this time around. Hauntzer behind in CS top lane, but with so much left to still catch up with, you can expect those numbers to be equalized rather rapidly here. A couple more underneath the turret. Unlucky minion aggro, feels badman. As Hauntzer will continue just farming that one up. Viper sitting down a control ward in the forwardmost brush. When you have lane control like this, that's when you're comfortable pushing those into the enemy territory because you know you can defend them.
Yep, they're tracking Contractz non-stop now. And it is Santorin at 6, so critically any sort of all-in play that you're going to be looking to go for, you have to be worried about this Karthus there to turn it around. He is certainly in a really strong position, has the early Dark Seal as well as the Fiendish Codex, so I know a fair bit of AP going to be packed in behind that ultimate.
The ultimate currently does 301 damage plus Dark Harvest damage added to that one. So after magic resistance gets factored in, you're probably going to be doing a little bit over 200 something or so. So you have to factor that in when you're getting hit in these all-ins, whether or not you're going to survive.
Yeah, and when you're actually looking over at the Vel'Koz, he has 1,067 health. So you're saying, 200, 250 with the Dark Harvest plus the ultimate from Karthus. Ignite does 190 damage, true damage, as well from Pobelter. R and a couple Qs and an auto he's
dead.
Pretty much you're just dead from full. So Froggen gonna have to play very, very carefully. He wants to kind of bide his time and wait until that barrier is back up. It's a relatively small window for FlyQuest to look for that sort of play. So Froggen gonna have to be careful during it.
And while most of these lanes are very close in terms of only like 100 gold or so separating the players on either side, this 1,000 gold lead is mostly being determined by the difference in jungle. That CS discrepancy of double has not changed. Santorin continues.
A big number.
Yeah, the number is just double because Santorin is not letting that ratio decrease as time goes on. Oftentimes, you'll see maybe an early lead of, 30 to 15, but then that just stays a plus 15 lead as time goes on. Later on, it's 115 to 100. It doesn't mean much. But if you continue to build at that same rate, keep it that ridiculous of a difference, Contractz is going to have a very bad time.
Yeah, he really is. And part of that is due to the fact that Irelia has lane priority and they're looking on the bot lane. But when Irelia is shoving in the Vel'Koz, it makes it very easy for Irelia to walk over, to get vision, to help have that safety while Karthus takes away the chicken camp, right? So he's done that multiple times, and that has certainly put him in a great spot. He's already done his full jungle item,
level
plus
8.
the Dark Seal and boots. Yeah, he's equal level to the solo laners here. 2 levels up on Contractz.
Froggen's just going to continue farming up here in the mid lane. He knows he's going to have a hell of a target to deal with across the enemy lines, not just with Pobelter, but with Santorin there on this Karthus. Contractz will continue farming, has not been able to make any sort of a play. As you mentioned, Karthus can sort of walk into lanes and be annoying with Lay Waste and Wall of Pain, but if he counter ganks you after you go in, then he can be truly deadly, and Contractz cannot risk being counter ganked and falling behind.
Yeah, I mean, he's already so far behind. Any play goes wrong, it's going to feel that much worse. Early Infernal going to add insult to injury there, as these guys are going to be feeling so good about their position in this early stage.
Life Form Disintegration Ray, Pobelter in some trouble. Cataclysm comes out, nice flash from POB.
Yep, well-timed flash there. Does get out of the Cataclysm damage, but that being said, you're going to trade those ultimates for the Summoner every time. It's also reducing the kill pressure from Pobelter, which will allow Froggen to play more aggressively, to look for more poke. And also worth noting, he has that barrier back.
Barrier means that the all-in threat's probably going to need somebody else besides just Pobelter here in the mid lane to really make that one sing. As you can see, Pobelter continuing to farm up, has JayJ and Santorin hanging out behind him. Both Olleh and Contractz were near mid lane as well.
Contractz got to run.
Yeah, Contractz wanted to make sure he got some farm, but now he's heading out towards the top side, realizing his top laner has priority. That's the escape route you want to go with.
Yeah, something else that we haven't really touched on much is the bottom lane, as a lot of the action has been around the jungle. It is going to be a Stormrazor rush here for Deftly, so you can actually, with this, plus a pickaxe, building into the Rage Blade second, you will hit the Q Evolve upgrade very early on. It's also kind of getting you more quickly to your E-Evolve with the attack speed in on the Stormrazor. That being said, you are sacrificing some kind of potential DPS by not going for the IE Rage Blade build. That is kind of a higher damage potential, but this does have the additional safety of that E-Evolve with the stealth earlier on. And then on the side of Turtle, he is playing on-hit Varus. This is not the Comet Lethality. This is Blade of the Rune King, lethal tempo. This is about the auto attacks, and he's going to need the safeties to kind of square up and actually start getting those shots off. It's not just about, poke and move. You're going to have multiple members diving on top of you and trying to disrupt that damage coming through from Turtle.
And one thing that's also worth pointing out this game, if you look at the inventory of Contractz, he has Warrior on the Jarvan, not going for the Cinderhulk, which is the tankier choice. Don't know how I feel about this one, considering he's so far behind this game. You have to wonder, well, isn't he just going to explode once he gets into the fight?
Yeah, it's tough to know, and he may very well do that, but you still want to have some relevance in those early ganks. You still want to have some upfront damage, so I think that's what he's going for. Red Smite, Warrior, as well as Electrocute lets you do some damage, and in they go on to Pobelter. Here comes Galio.
Pobelter nicely dashing away to the minions, looking to maybe turn something around with Vanguard's Edge, but he will be obliterated. And first blood goes over to Contractz. Right as I down him for the Warrior, he rams that spear through Pobelter's heart.
Yep, no getting out of that one. Pobelter played it pretty well, dashing around, but you saw Froggen held the knock-up until Pobelter was taunted. That guarantees it, guarantees the full combo will land, and Pobelter will die, so well-executed gank. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Contractz go into a supportive item after this. Something like a Warrior to give you a little bit of oomph, and then go back to a Knight's Vow. But here is the play one more time. They know no flash on Pobelter, so they return to the scene of the crime. Cataclysm comes out. Galio comes out. He dashes out. This is well done. But then watch Froggen holding the spells. Taunt lands. Knock-up's guaranteed. Ultimate comes through. There is no escaping that. Oh.
There was some escaping that one, though. Whoops. Varus ulti. One of the most notorious spells I remember back in the day, even when Varus first came out, the champion quickly became known for, why do I never see this guy hit his ultimate? There's just something about Varus ult that's easy to whiff.
Yeah.
Turtle will not find the mark on that one, but honestly, even though Golden Guardians got first blood plus assist money, that's 600 gold's worth of value, it's FlyQuest who are ahead in gold. They've got 3 turrets taken over their opponents now that we've crossed that 14-minute mark, and they're still up almost 1.5K. Yeah,
exactly.
3 turret plates taken.
Yep, and that is going to be quite a big difference. The farm advantage still massive in the jungle. Yeah, there's a kill onto Contractz, but it still doesn't actually even out the gold between those two members. That being said, the carries are still doing quite well on the side of Golden Guardians. So yeah, your J4 is behind. Yeah, the Karthus is going to be a problem, but you are not out of this game by any means. We've seen how effective Froggen can actually be on that Vel'Koz, and Kai'Sa scales incredibly well. Aatrox going to be that powerful frontliner, so we'll see how well they can actually kind of handle themselves in these late stages as it comes more towards that kind of team fight stage.
Next Drake will be spawning here in 30 seconds. First Infernal went over to FlyQuest. Fantastic team composition for that, by the way, as Mountain will be coming up next. And when you have a Blade of the Ruined King AD carry, and a Ryze top, and a jungler that constantly spams like a DPS champion that he is. Baron with Mountain Drake is very possible very early, and that's something the Golden Guardians will have to keep in mind if FlyQuest can secure this one.
They really will. The only thing working against them at all is the fact that they don't really have a true tank to kind of tank up that Baron. So while you can go for early Barons damage-wise, you will get low doing it, right? And there is risk associated with that, because that means if Golden Guardians shows up, you can get killed off, you can get punished. So we'll see, because either way, it is first turret going the way of FlyQuest. In that 2v2, they take down first turret. Was not really any jungle attention down there, so credit to Turtle and JayJ. Crumb's throwing some criticism in the way of JayJ, and at least so far in the laning phase, has been doing very well alongside Turtle, and they're going to be rewarded for their efforts in the 2v2.
WildTurtle picking that Varus, showing how lane domination works. Contractz takes a pretty big chunk from a single lay waste there by Santorin. Golden Guardians does not seem to want to yield this second Drake so easily. Pobelter could be the target here. Does have the flash to try to get away from this one potentially. There comes your Requiem. See ya, Contractz! No way out! Heal from Deftly is not enough. Santorin is just too farmed up.
Yeah, Pobelter just turned on Contractz there. Ignites him, alt, double Q, straight into the ultimate from Santorin. And they turn around what was a Golden Guardians engage very easily, knocking down Contractz. And now it's going to be onto the Mountain Dragon. If their Baron taking wasn't already powerful, this will certainly increase that a lot. You're going to have all the additional damage coming through from the Infernal, from the Mountain, as well as the on-hit Varus build, which is so good at taking it down. And FlyQuest are really in a great spot so far this game.
This has been such a fun back and forth series. The odd-numbered games seem to be so far in the favor of Golden Guardians, and then FlyQuest always responds as we move over to the even-numbered games. And they're coming back here strong again. 17 minutes in, 3,000 gold up, 2 high-value Drakes ahead of their opponents. And now Golden Guardians are trying to respond with a Rift Herald.
Yeah, and they should be able to grab this pretty easily. But we'll see what the plan is going to be, because I think FlyQuest has a lot of options. I think, with his super-fed Karthus, you can look to Teamfight. I think that the Ryze Irelia allows you to set up pretty well for a 1-3-1 also. You're seeing that it is Viper who is pushing in Hauntzer and chipping away at that turret much more heavily, so he's kind of running that side lane. A Triforce Irelia at this point in the game is going to be very difficult to match up with, so FlyQuest certainly has a lot of ability to kind of play around those side lanes, and that's not somewhere that Froggen wants to be sitting on the Vel'Koz. He doesn't want to be isolated in a side lane. He wants to be, looking for poke, gathered up around objectives where he was so successful on it last time.
He needs to have the opportunity to fire those lasers into multiple health bars at the same time to really win these team fights here for the side of Golden Guardians. Turtle in the mid lane now here on the Varus, just farming up long range versus long range against Froggen's Vel'Koz. Vel'Koz will have the advantage in terms of push priority there, just firing everything into the wave. Olleh hanging out nearby just in case FlyQuest decides to try to make a move onto that mid laner. But Pobelter in the top side, as you already mentioned, Trinity Force completed. Means Irelia is online and will only continue to get stronger as she builds up more and more of those trademark bruiser items.
Yeah, and you can see they are, into that 1-3-1, right? It is going to be Deftly and Olleh trying to answer up here on the top side. They will leave Froggen in this kind of 1v numbers type situation where he is going to be responsible for clearing out these waves as best he can, but it's FlyQuest 4 men mid. He will be able to clear out this one, but that sort of pressure does open you up to potential dives very easily, and he's going to have to be very, very careful about that.
Stopwatch on Froggen, though, so they do have to be careful on the side of FlyQuest going too haphazard with the dive. Even if it's a 4 versus 1, if Golden Guardians can rotate over and punish, the fight could go badly. 2,500 gold still separating the two teams, though. Golden Guardians have shrunk that lead here a little bit, but it's still a hill to climb up against FlyQuest, who are looking good here in this 4th game. Really wanting to hang on, take us to that game number 5, fight for that semifinal spot. Pobelter continuing to farm up, needs a couple more auto attacks onto that tier 1 in the top side to bring it down and put even more money in FlyQuest pockets. Rift Herald summoned up in the mid lane. If it gets a charge off, it will kill the mid lane tier 1 turret. Top side, tier 1 taken down from the side of Golden Guardians. Froggen having to get himself away. Santorin has Requiem, but remember the stopwatch is available for Froggen. We'll see if they decide to trade Requiem away for that or not. Looks like no, and Shelly will not even get a charge.
Yeah, Rift Herald basically did nothing at all for Golden Guardians there. I mean, they stepped up to actually drop it, and it ends up being them who has to blow both double summoners on their mid laner to actually retreat. Doesn't even get a charge off. The pressure is mounting. They lost the top lane turret at the same time. They don't really have the proper members to answer both of these side lanes. You can send Hauntzer to one, but Hauntzer cannot be everywhere at once. And if you send your bottom lane to match one person in Pobelter, well, then it's exposing Froggen to being pushed off and pressured in that 1v number situation.
And honestly, so much of this game has just been the story of the junglers for me. We checked in comparing Santorin and Contractz side by side in game number 1, and I want to recall what we were talking about then, because the advantage was very clearly in favor of Santorin when it came to the head-to-head stats up against Contractz in almost every department, and that's what he's really showcasing here in this 4th game. Contractz tried to shut him down at level 2. He was a little bit too late, and Santorin then just snowballed this entire game. He farmed better. He was never stopped by Contractz at any point. 7,600 to 6,100 gold. He still accounts for half the lead between the teams.
I mean, he has slightly more gold than even either of the solo laners on Golden Guardians, right? You essentially have a third fully powered solo lane style champion here. Yes, he is going to be falling a little bit behind in experience, as jungle experience was nerfed quite some time ago, and it does become very difficult to actually keep up with the solo laners fully.
Rip Season 6.
That being said, he is still monstrously strong. You know, he is at a really, really powerful point in the game. And for Golden Guardians, it's going to be about finding those engages, finding those team fights, picking people off in side lanes, and utilizing, you know, J4, Galio, Vel'Koz to do it.
Here comes the fight. It's going to be FlyQuest going in. Froggen's in some trouble, having to try to get himself away from this one. 200 HP remaining. Santorin already grabbing the kill, and Golden Guardians are falling left, right, and center. Definitely nearly taken down. Requiem coming out. Double kill over to POB. The Requiem comes down. Hauntzer runs away, but here comes the Realm Warp. Viper wants to finish this one off. JayJ will fall. It's a 3-for-4 trade.
Did 2 members just die to the turret from FlyQuest?
Maybe.
Because I think 2 members may have just died to the turret. But either way, FlyQuest, a little bit of an oopsie. Close your eyes, don't look at the replay. They do get 4 kills. They're almost the clean ace. And they're gonna grab the dragon to boot. Here it is one more time. Froggen, no summoners available. Olleh, quick ultimate to peel him pretty well at the start, but Santorin flashes in, finishes that off. Deftly getting pressured. Contractz locked down on the side by Viper. Hauntzer does come in to turn things around. First kill does go over, and the second one, just a bit mismanagement there on the tower aggro. 2 members do fall. That's pretty sloppy.
Yeah, you hate to see that one. Not what FlyQuest did. You can see Pobelter's like, what are you guys doing?
Oh my God, I hope they don't show a replay. Well,
Why
guess
did you
what,
walk
Pobelter?
back in? FlyQuest still 4,000 gold up. FlyQuest is still, I think, overall happy with how that one played out. Froggen's grabbing some good damage. And I also want to point out, Froggen did not use the stasis at all in the last fight. He knew that if he did, he was only going to buy 2.5 seconds and still die no matter what. He chose instead to opt to keep the cooldown. Remember, he's not rushing straight for the hourglass, so that's still going to be a way away from having that full stopwatch, having the regular usage of that stasis. So he wants to make sure it's high value when he uses it.
Yeah, and I think that is intelligent. You see way too often players just like, well, I'm in trouble. I guess I pressed my stopwatch. Even in 1v4 situations where there's no way they can get it.
I'm golden. You can't hurt me now.
Yeah, and I mean, that is your rune that you're throwing in the garbage there. So you really want to make sure that you are holding it for an opportune moment. We'll see if that comes in whatsoever. You can see the stopwatch is available on Pobelter here also. And Golden Guardians certainly pretty far behind when you take into equation all the added power that is going to come from these dragons too. Double Mountain plus Infernal. Going to make this Baron go down in a hurry. The next one will be Infernal as well. So Golden Guardians really want to get that. We'll see if they can actually set up vision in that area. Because if you can grab up an Infernal and even out that, you're going to be feeling, I think, a lot better about your chances going further in this game.
Yeah, they're still not at a GG level of gold deficit yet. It's not like this is a 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 gold difference. Still about 3K separating the two sides, up to 4K now after FlyQuest have farmed up their waves. But Golden Guardians do have that scaling Kaisa. 2 items now completed for Deftly. Rage Blade plus Storm Razor should be both the Q and E evolutions.
It's just so concerning, though, when you look at the itemization on the Karthus. He already has Death Cap, double Spell Pen, and Jungle Item, right? And he's just so massive at this point in the game that he can just press ultimate before the fight starts, and it's similar to how it happened, with Karthus when Froggen was playing it earlier today. And you can just say, no, you can't take a team fight, right? You just press R, they have to leave because they're all so chunked out. There's no magic resistance perched up. Yeah, you can stopwatch it one time, but that's
Hey, they got Merc treads. They got some shoes.
Yeah, well, here comes the fight.
Fight breaking out. Requiem coming down. Let's see if they can find any sort of a punish here. Pobelter going to be buying some time. Still shut down. Hauntzer making sure they got that kill. Life form disintegration rate over the wall. Going to be finding 2 health bars. Golden Guardians still 5 alive. Will win the fight 1-0.
Yeah, big fight for them there. And despite the fact that the Requiem did come down, the rest of the FlyQuest team wasn't there to actually follow up. Pobelter gets caught out, shut down. That's now no Karthus ultimate available. They don't have the ability to really go for a Baron and try to extend it past that, so it will just be the 1 kill and the cooldowns. But they get some summoners out, they get a kill, they buy themselves some more time and space to kind of catch up and try to close the gap in this game.
And that's what it's all about. We've talked about this plenty of times before, but 3,500 gold 25 minutes in is very different from 3,500 gold 55 minutes in. Here's Pobelter getting caught out.
Yep, really good engage, gets a knock-up. In comes Galio very quickly into the taunt. JayJ tries to heal it up, but just gets caught in the taunt as well. Lucky to get out there as Turtle and JayJ so close to getting shredded. If Froggen was a little bit stronger, he could have potentially got them both, or at least forced summoners out there. At the same time, Golden Guardians down 3.5K. It's going to be largely, I feel, about this next Infernal Dragon. Both teams really are going to try to want to go for that. If you're giving up the Infernal, I almost feel like it has to be for something that is a big trade, like you're getting the Baron, or you're getting multiple turrets and some kills traded back, because giving over a free Infernal when this team is this far ahead would be critically bad.
You can see some Drake control stats there on your screen. Over the course of Spring Split, it has been Golden Guardians who have controlled the objective better. But so far in this series, it's also Golden Guardians controlling the Drake better, just not quite as good as usual.
Yep, and not as good in this game, right? That is where we're sitting there at match point here. 1 game away from getting to semifinals, and the first time this organization has actually made it to playoffs or even been above 10th place. They would love to get something done, and they're here pushing in mid lane. They're going to take this over towards that Dragon Pit. Critically, Karthus' ultimate is not back up after that last fight, but it will be soon, so Golden Guardians would have to force immediately.
That's what they've got to be thinking, is this is your chance. Without Requiem, you got to force it down. Definitely going to be putting in some work here on the Infernal Drake.
Yeah.
Golden Guardians with control over the area. A very nice choice of when and where to fight.
Going for Baron.
But now it's Baron. The call from the side of FlyQuest. They'll rush over to Baron. Golden Guardians will try to catch up and make something happen, but Baron is eviscerated. Great call from FlyQuest.
Viper just realm morphs them over there, and they destroy the Baron. That is a trade you were talking about, but now they're going to try to get some kills on the way out.
Oh, Viper could be in some trouble. Having a flash away from this one. The follow-up coming through, but it's not going to be there quite yet. Pobelter now going to be caught out. Remember, the man has flash. Can he get away? Yes, he will over the wall, just barely. That is 2 somehow living away from the fight. Stasis coming out from Froggen, keeping himself alive, barely going to be doing so. JayJ now in the front line, going to be caught out, burst down. Hauntzer's able to take that kill credit, as now Santorin's going to be taking very low damage coming through. Life Farm Disintegration Ray will find its mark. Barrier comes down, but it's a double kill over to Deftly.
Gets 2 kills
over to WildTurtle, not Deftly.
Critically, Contractz keeps the GA up, just barely surviving. Heal came through to keep him alive. Barrier was available for Froggen. FlyQuest getting a little bit sloppy on the exit from that Baron. People opting in to fight that they didn't really need to take. You had the Baron, you have control, but still they're marching it down mid lane. They are going to be able to potentially crack this inhibitor. There's just no defense here for Golden Guardians really at all.
Inhibitor turret will fall. Pobelter jumping forward. No Hauntzer or Olleh here for another 10 seconds. But Deftly, Froggen, and Contractz are enough to force FlyQuest back for now.
Yeah, they will push them back. Gold lead still very similar. Here's the play one more time. Contractz going in alongside Deftly. Ultimate used there onto Viper, but he gets out with the flash, and then Pobelter kind of corralled here, holding onto the flash, wanting to make sure he could actually get over the wall. He does hold on, gets out. Then Turtle says, okay, it's my turn now. And this is where I think FlyQuest got a little bit sloppy, where they're kind of going in 1 at a time here. You can just wait and reset and take the fight. Either way, they are very, very strong. Turtle turns, fires, gets so much damage out, knocking down multiple members, but Froggen as well. ultimate coming across, and then the heal, the W shield from Contractz, barely able to keep him up. Losing that GA would have been pretty costly. You can see Hexdrinkers now coming in, having to be there to answer this damage that is from Santorin, so that's putting them kind of further behind the curve as far as total DPS output, whereas you look at Turtle, he's going pure damage. He's going probably for the IE next. It could be a GA as well if he wants to go that route, but 3 damage items. He's close to a GA if he wants it. And on the other side, Deftly is still working on his 3rd item for the Zeal and sitting on a Hexdrinker.
Still about just a minute left on this Baron power play, which has awarded a 1,200 gold lead, shrinking up a little bit now as minions are farmed up over to the side of FlyQuest. We'll see if they're able to push any further with this. Remember, mid lane inhibitor is exposed, but not down yet. Santorin and the rest of FlyQuest in the enemy jungle, setting down vision, seeing if maybe they can set a trap.
Also really worth paying attention to the fact that it's not even just the 1 GA, it is 2. So the next fight for Golden Guardians is going to be very powerful. You essentially have the 3 lives on Hauntzer here with the Aatrox passive with his ultimate, plus a GA. You have GA on Contractz as well. So that is perhaps their strongest fight that is going to be coming up next. And if they can take that before GAs are completed on the other side, they'd be feeling pretty good. But now Pobelter bases, he's going to grab his own. Turtle could grab his own as well. And that would even up things even in that regard, which was really the only edge they had.
Golden Guardians, they continue to bleed out gold after the Baron. 5,500 about the lead here for the side of FlyQuest, but we're continuing to scale later and later into the game. Multiple item breakpoints being hit by the carries. Froggen on the Vel'Koz does have the Zhonya's Hourglass now completed, which means stasis will be an element in every fight. Keep an eye on him and when he goes golden, if he can find a really clutch timing for that one. Definitely still working on that Zeal evolution now, was delayed because of the Hexdrinker that you mentioned.
And Santorin has a Void Staff now. Like, he has more gold than his solo laners. It is so ridiculous how strong he is sitting at this point in the game. And FLICKR proves me a liar as he did pick up a little bit of gold there, but still so ridiculously strong. You know, having Flat Pen plus the Void Staff as well, he's going to be able to shred through the MR that has been picked up. I think the Locket is a smart buy from Olleh to try to deal with that Requiem damage. You know, you can pop that Locket and try to time that similar to how you're utilizing the barrier, but Golden Guardians are up against it. They really can't afford to lose even one more fight or the game can potentially end. Baron's up in a minute. The Cloud Dragon, though, looks like it will be the target for these two teams. And so far, at least, Golden Guardians is first to arrive. We'll see if they can afford to take a fight, though, because this time Requiem is available, and it's a level 16 Deathcap Void Staff Karthus.
Remember last time, it was the Realm Warp that allowed FlyQuest to take the more important objective after the Drake was secured by Golden Guardians. Yes, we'll see what they decide to go for here. Cloud Drake taken down. Golden Guardians now trying to get themselves away. Hauntzer might be in some trouble, but the Life Form Disintegration Ray over the wall going to be finding a lot of damage here now as well. Olleh coming into the fight with the dunk, as there comes your damage from Deftly. He's able to find the shutdown onto WildTurtle. It's 2 dead on the side of FlyQuest, but the Requiem comes in from the sky. Damage reigns true, and 2 will die for Golden Guardians here as well.
Yeah, they trade out the GAs. Now they're looking for Hauntzer. We'll see if he can even escape. He's trying to go on a friggin' secret agent mission here.
Oh
Hauntzer.
my God, Metal Gear Hauntzer snuck right past all the guards in his cardboard box. They never even knew he was there, man.
Oh my God, that is so big that he gets out alive there. But again, that's both GAs now down for Golden Guardians, and a fight that they initiated, but the follow-up wasn't necessarily really easy for them to actually get through. Froggen had a lot of damage coming out, but actually try to track Deftly in this fight. You can see him at the bottom side of your screen on the right side now, moving up. Yes, they're going in. Vel'Koz is getting tons of damage, but what is Deftly able to actually get done, right? He's being zoned out by Viper. He can't walk into the Ryze, so he has to then ultimate across the fight to just now start getting damage out. And he's just going to die pretty much immediately, as a little bit of damage from Pobelter plus the Requiem means, yeah, you just go down through the Hexdrinker. Yep. No chance to survive there. So they have to be really cognizant of the total situation here. And then this is a really nice escape as they say, okay, he's got to be going back through the lane, but Hauntzer just splits the uprights. That's a field goal. He's going to walk right down the middle.
Moving perfectly through the shadows. The true aspect of stealth. A big lumbering demon with a sword. As Golden Guardians will continue to hold on here this game, but it's still FlyQuest in control as it has been from the start. Important thing now, Elder Drake is on the table here in the future.
Stopwatch going to be here as well for Deftly. That is really, really big. And know, this Kai'Sa is getting very, very strong, but IE was the buy from Turtle, so if Turtle actually has time to sit and fire, he can shred through anyone on this team. There's no true tank whatsoever. A couple seconds with Turtle means you're dead, so they need to have their engage really, really on point.
Some more poke being fired out from Froggen. Again, he's the guy I'm keeping my eye on especially.
Here comes Pope.
BOB trying to make the dive happen now onto the back line. Froggen trying to get himself away. Pobelter still going to be wreaking some havoc. Hauntzer's able to find the kill onto Pobelter, but can he get himself away? Olleh's going to be dying next. Hauntzer goes into the resurrection. Definitely looking to find some auto attacks left, right, and center, but he's going to be taken down. Turtle with a double kill. Make it three.
We'll see, they have minions. Yeah, that should be it. We'll see if Froggen and Contractz can pull off a miracle, but it's 2v4. No summoners available here. I think FlyQuest is about to send us to match point game 5.
Those water bottles are going to turn to wine if they can manage to hold this one, because it will be nothing shy of a miracle.
He might burn down.
Back, he actually got him.
Well, get your cups, Flowers, because it's wine for
Hope
dinner
everybody's
tonight.
ready to party because the miracle comes through. Golden Guardians will hold the line. And now this game continues. Froggen with the snipe.
Can you believe it? The tension is building here as Pobelter going deep, gets actually out of the Galio ultimate, and then Deftly again, he's just getting shredded. The Realm Warp was coming through on the backside here from Ryze, and he says, all right, well, I guess I just gotta go forward. I think he maybe could have tried to escape up through the top or something along those lines, but as he goes back in, Turtle shreds him, finishing off the triple kill. Now they're TPing in. They're just gonna try to start Baron here. Golden Guardians are going for the Hail Mary, but mid lane is open.
Golden Guardians
FlyQuest
rushing to the
end the
Baron.
game. They're just
FlyQuest
gonna go
are going to end this game. Golden Guardians have got to grab the Baron and get themselves right back
JayJ
to their
gets
base
off the
here
recall,
immediately. Can they stop this? Golden Guardians looking to get back.
Oh my
they
God.
have Baron empowered recall. They pull it off.
That was so gutsy. And now there's no punish whatsoever from FlyQuest.
What can you punish with?
I mean, I think they could have tried to perhaps commit. I'm not sure if they had the minions to finish, but I thought they were going to send JayJ in to suicide and stop the recalls. Instead, they're prepping for Elder. They do get spotted out, though, and oh my God, this game is so down to the wire. Golden Guardians have been up against it for 30 minutes, but refusing to go down here. They have mid lane priority now. They're going to push this up and force FlyQuest to come to them. This means you now cede control around the Elder. It's Golden Guardians who will move in and maintain control in this area. They would love to get that Elder Dragon and grab those 2 super buffs.
Golden Guardians making an absolute battle out of this game. 11-12, 38 minutes in. FlyQuest, you have to remember though, if they have priority over mid lane, can try to rush down the Nexus itself. Deftly does so much damage to the Elder Dragon. Contractz and him will be able to work together, take this one out, but remember, Viper may be able to make some sort of a Realm Warp play instead. Dragon slain by the side of Golden Guardians. FlyQuest pushing up the top side. Azael, could this be a base race?
I don't think you should opt into it if you're Golden Guardians. They need to go back to base now. There's just one Nexus turret. That is easily backdoorable. You can use the Realm Warp to bring minions onto that last Nexus turret and close the game. So they do recognize their situation. It's 5 men back to base. Golden Guardians, you want to fight now. You need to track your opponents. Look for an engage. You have drafted for hard engage. You now have your death cap on Froggen. You have the 2 super buffs. This is your time to turn around this game.
We aren't playing League of Legends anymore. This is chicken, and both teams have the throttle on max, pedal to the metal, and nobody is looking to swerve. 1.5 minutes left on Baron and Elder Drake here for the side of Golden Guardians. You already said it, but they need to force a fight in that window if they really want to win the fight. Otherwise, we go back to even ground. Otherwise, we go back to FlyQuest being in a spot where they feel more comfortable. Inhibitor's still down for 1.5 minutes.
And Viper's pinging onto the side wave. He wants to get back to the split push, but you have to remember how risky this is because you can get hard engaged on, and now
Golden Guardians down the mid lane.
But if they don't see Viper, they could still potentially look for a dive. It's risky plays like this that could get them the series. We'll see if they want to go for it.
Golden Guardians into the enemy base. Inhibitor turret is cracked. Inhibitor will be the target now. 45 seconds remain
They're
on the
still going
buff.
for the win.
Golden Guardians has blood in their eyes. Can they win this game? Let's see if they're going to go for the push. Looks like the call is to fall back. FlyQuest, 5 members strong, will defend.
FlyQuest do hold on. and they have weathered the storm of these super buffs. 25 seconds on Baron, 38 on the Elder. So FlyQuest do avoid complete disaster, but the game is basically to parity at this point. FlyQuest's lead has somewhat evaporated, and it's Golden Guardians, even with the win condition of that second Elder as well. That is going to be coming up, in 6-7 minutes. So this is really, really tense at this point. I think next fight decides the game.
Highly likely, unless it's one of those fights where it looks like Golden Guardians wins and then dies to a Requiem at the end, and you've got 10 dead bodies on the ground. Otherwise, we're at the point in the game now. It's 41 minutes in. Items are online across the board.
I mean, even all these support items coming through for Olleh, I think are critical. Normally, support itemization is less important, but with Redemption, as well as Lock-In and Knight's Vow, and Maz coming across here, this is getting harder and harder for that Karthus ultimate to have that huge effect. And will Contractz get caught out here? He's got to be careful.
So does JayJ, who loses about half his HP there, a little bit less. Baron will be live in under 2 minutes, a little bit longer on Elder.
And these are the moments that make or break legacies for players. You are in such a tense moment. Pobelter is looking to set up a flank here. He wants to keep this series alive.
This is going to be the fight. Vanguard's edge into the lines of the Golden Guardians. Pobelter going to be soaking a lot of damage. Goes into the resurrection here immediately. Redemption coming down. Golden Guardians getting themselves away. Hauntzer goes into the World Ender immediately into the stasis. The fight's not going to be stopping just yet. Lifeform Disintegration Ray finds its way onto Santorin. Golden Guardians are looking to get themselves away. Viper and the rest of FlyQuest have to retreat. He's the only one with a big health bar, and Golden Guardians are on the attack.
Yeah, the GA is down here for Pobelter. Golden Guardians are chasing for him. They really want to catch up here, but looks like he will be able to get out. Still, they have supers. They may just try to walk it down and actually end the game. Critically, Froggen, no flash. That is the target for FlyQuest.
They would have to go after him. Golden Guardians blow up Pobelter as he tries to make the flank to end the game. Guardian Angel down now on that mid laner, a very critical resource to not have. Baron live in 40 seconds.
It's 2 GAs up against just the one here on Turtle, but Turtle does have all of his summoners available. They're looking to set up a potential trap here over by that Baron buff. If FlyQuest tries to walk through the jungle, they could get caught out, but it's them going for the mid lane control instead.
Remember, Hauntzer has no World Ender again for a little while. Contractz also at about half HP. We'll have GA. Froggen firing off the Plasma Fissions, not quite having the angle exactly where he needed it to be to connect on that one. You can see backs coming out from Golden Guardians, wanting to go back home. Control wards in the inventory is what both sides will need, but we're running out of inventory space, Azael.
And this base timing, gets so tight because Baron is now up on the map. You can't actually go back to base at this point. You can see the supports are running out of wards. There's only one ward on JayJ. He has no pinks, one charge on his sight zone. Olleh has nothing. So if you lose vision control at this point, it's a face check or it's nothing, because I don't know if you can go back to base with Baron already live. So instead, it's to the mid lane, it's bring the other team to you, and it's all down to execution. Who pulls off the critical team fight at 43 minutes?
What an intense game between these two teams that going into this we said should be a hell of a contest. Golden Guardians and FlyQuest both going the distance here in game number 4. Viper moves into the bottom lane to try to set this push up. Teleport ready to go to join the fight if necessary.
Yeah, and you can see Olleh took that time. They see Viper, he goes back to base, he resets his Sightstone wards, he buys up a couple pinks. Now Contractz back to base, he's loading up on pinks. They know it's going to be about vision. When you come down to these late game team fights, the team that has the vision chooses the fight, and they often win the game.
2 Guardian Angels up on the side of Golden Guardians, 1 for the side of FlyQuest. Pobelter still with half the cooldown ready to go. Stopwatch still available for Deftly.
Oh, they're looking.
Olleh channeling the taunt, not going to be finding anything. Pobelter coming around from the side. Vanguard's edge into the Golden Guardians line. Pobelter going to be the target now, goes into the back line, looking for Froggen, going to be taken down. Here comes Resurrection out for Contractz. Viper's looking to find something. Froggen is down. FlyQuest have found the fight so far, but can they finish it here? Hauntzer's going to hold the line. Can Deftly keep himself alive? The Requiem comes in, and that's the death song for Golden Guardians.
When it matters most, it is Viper the rookie. He finds both Froggen and Deftly, and that will close the game. Silver Scrapes, here we come.
FlyQuest, they had to fight tooth and nail to grab this game. It's still not over yet, as Olleh and Hauntzer will look to hold the line. Viper nearly taken down. He goes into the stasis, and that will buy the time needed. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome you to Game 5.
What a series it has been. 5 games, 2 teams, so evenly matched. This one right down to the wire, 45 minutes. Golden Guardians on the back foot for most of it, but battling back into the game, taking the Baron, taking the Elder. FlyQuest withstanding that and finding the fight they needed, flanking from multiple angles as Viper gets to the back line, takes down Froggen, takes down Deftly, and that was it.
That's why I play League of Legends. Games like that, these climactic battles back and forth, punch for punch the entire time until it gets to that final fight. FlyQuest played it better, and as you so importantly stated, Viper played it better. This guy who we faulted in games 1 and 3 for having those critical errors, he shows up. He steps up when he has to, and he takes them all the way to Game 5.
I mean, that is Pose, right? He's a deathless game here in Game 4 from your rookie. It doesn't get more pressure than that, right? You're down to the line. You have been in control this whole time, and it feels like maybe the game is slipping away. And one more fight lost, the game is over. Instead, it's him that steps up. It's him that takes them to Game 5 and potentially to a semifinals berth.
And now both these teams are going to have to reset mentally. That's the kind of game that just takes it out of you, but they've both got to find one more deep down inside right here and see if they can pull out the win. It's all tied up, so let's leave it to the State Farm analyst desk to break it down before Game 5.
Thank you very much, Flowers. What a way to go to Game 5. Whew. That game.
That was a game. It was
crazy.
insane.
Absolutely. You can see that in every moment of this game where a big decision was being made, the pressure that is, playing into that decision. Not always the right decision, but both of these teams play knowing that their postseason hopes are on the line, and in particular for FlyQuest, who was on match point there and now have pushed it to that 5th game.
I mean, it's super nerve-wracking. You're Pobelter engaging by yourself as a champion that typically does not engage by herself, and you know that you're putting forth your entire season on the line. That might be your very last engage, and you have to do it over and over again. Yet it works, and this series keeps getting better with each game.
Let's take a look at the draft. I know we had that segment to preface the game in its entirety, and some of what you guys called out definitely showed up.
Solo lanes.
Yeah, that's right. The FlyQuest drafted Ryze and Irelia as your solo lanes flex picks, making sure that it would be a lot harder for Froggen to draft his mid lane. He still went with the Vel'Koz, and boy, his Vel'Koz hurts.
Right. I mean, you look at Golden Guardians, they did the exact same thing, basically. They have 4 out of 5 of the champions that are basically the same, and it didn't work out for them this time. So now they have to go back to the drawing board and be like, hey, so this comp worked twice, and now it just failed. Do we want to do the same thing, or do we try something new? Because FlyQuest stuck to their guns and did the same bans. They had new picks, but they did the same bans.
Let's dive into that then as we roll through some of the game itself. What is your assessment, Mark, on the comp put together by Golden Guardians and how it played into the loss here?
I mean, I have a hard time putting too much on it. It felt like an early game advantage that was, going in the favor of FlyQuest. I look at that early invade by the Jarvan that didn't turn out well. They all in way too hard on bot lane and lost all their summoners, and FlyQuest did a good job grabbing advantage of that, and this felt like the play that was going to blow the game open from that position. But there's a small mistake here by Turtle. He has red buff on, and so even though a creep was in front of him and took turret aggro, it re-aggroes onto him, it kills him, then it kills JayJ, and that was like, oh, they're about to take Baron after a 4-for-1. Bam, it's a 4-for-3 and the game's stalling.
And something funny from that, actually, there was still a creep alive after Turtle died, so JayJ wasn't going to take aggro, but the Ryze ulti got teleported out, so he got aggro, and then that's just a facepalm.
It is a literal comedy of errors in that moment. Of course, as you mentioned, Mark, that could have been the game-breaking play. Because of that, it definitely did stall out, so we have to push ourselves ahead here to take a look at this dragon fight.
And we had a few issues with this. One, I had an issue earlier about them not doing Baron right after that fight middle. And then with this fight, I don't understand why they don't go for Baron even earlier.
It's not even the fight. It's like you have two Mountain Dragons. You should be touching Baron any moment you can. You melt that. like you should be only focused on that objective. Instead, you actually get caught out afterwards. These Golden Guardians that goes for the engage to try to get some Barons out of FlyQuest before they can reset, but it so turns out that Froggen steps up a little bit and WildTurtle sees the opportunity.
And I definitely appreciate what Golden Guardians was doing in this game, even from behind. You saw them being aggressive. Let's force a fight around Infernal Drake. Well, FlyQuest didn't take that. They went for Baron. Okay, well,
Let's go force one there.
Yeah, let's go pick them off as they try and back off. And so I like the fact that even from behind, they had an aggressive kind of divey comp where Vel'Koz is supposed to shoot the laser over the top. They tried to find those fights as much as they could, but it's really hard to dive into a Karthus, so these fights were very touch and go.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead, Ty.
I think for Golden Guardians, they played their comp really well. They forced them to come to them every single time, and that's what Vel'Koz wants. And FlyQuest was struggling to engage. And when I'm thinking about that, you're trying to figure out how to take a fight. Why don't you make them come to you instead? You get to the objective first and make them come to you, and then that makes the fight work a lot better for you.
FlyQuest getting Zen out there.
Was it a meditation or a power nap?
I mean, that's the thing, right? You got to be. Flowers called it out.
Yeah.
Both of these teams, even FlyQuest having won, are going to need kind of a mental reboot here going into Game 5 because everything's going to be different from Champion Select to the way that early game plays out. A whole new set of circumstances that you're going to be making decisions against.
Yeah, so a lot of the times, Game 5, you have the choice. Do we go with full late game scaling, make sure that we just win because we're expecting them to be really passive, or do we just go put it all on the line, go full on early game? And I think that both these teams are probably going to go for the latter and just go all out in the early game, replicating what just happened, because the late game, I think, has not been so stellar for them when it comes to decision making. So just go ahead and try to win quickly.
FlyQuest's blue side, no
I was about to
subs.
ask, yeah.
We're diving into the final fight of the game here just to take a look at how it ended, because we've been talking about Viper in his first playoff performance all day, and he comes up huge to take his team to that 5th game
Yep,
of the series.
completely ignores the Jarvan, runs around, says he is not my target, instantly goes for the Kai'Sa, flashes the, Vel'Koz, finishes off Froggen so he can't keep doing damage, and then turns on to the Kai'Sa. And this is kind of what we were talking about with Viper. He made some mistakes this game, not always making the perfect play, but in team fights, on carries, he usually does a good job finding enemy backlines.
I got chills just watching that. Like, that's the kind of play you see at an international level where someone finds a way to get to the backline when it really matters. And so if you were nervous before, you just made the play that got you to Game 5. Forget about those nerves. You're actually now playing for what you came here to do in 18 days of regular season.
Yeah, it's so tempting to want to hit that Jarvan. He's flash in front, it's a free hit, he's just right there, but he knows that's not how you win the fight. So very, very aware.
You know, something cool I would have appreciated was that it would use his ultimate to try and engage. So you see Pobelter struggling to engage. He's a one-man army, basically suiciding to start this fight. Why don't you just ulti your Braum into there and then make it so that he has backup doing it? Because you see that he's so far every single time. And I think there's a lot of creative ways they could use Ryze ult that game with getting Baron faster or starting fights, but we didn't really see that.
That's the next evolution of the play, but the risk, the willingness to take that risk has to be noted for the rookie on the stage that just brought us to that 5th game of the series. Now I want to talk about that 5th game just real briefly. Again, FlyQuest is sticking on blue side, so it's more of the same for the teams in that sense. But what would you expect out of either of these squads to prove that they deserve the opportunity to go up against either TL or C9?
I would like to see Deftly back on one of the more lane-dominant early champions like the Kalista, the Varus, and these kinds of things. I don't really like the Kai'Sa for him. I think he's had a really good series so far, and this game wasn't terrible or anything like that, but I think him being able to 2v2 the lane on his own is a big deal. Turtle popped off that game.
I want to see more early game. The Elise, I think, was a good pick. Priorities on the Jarvan are nice, and you really have to imagine that this game would have gone differently if Karthus did not get so far ahead from Jarvan early on. So I'm a little worried that if they go with the exact same draft as Game 4, that it might fumble if they don't get so far ahead in the jungle. So I say just put it all on the line, and if you get stomped, you tried.
Final thoughts here, Hi?
I think Golden Guardians should just do what they just did and not make the mistakes early game. They could possibly ban the Karthus out if they really wanted, but their comp of the Galio Jarvan is really strong with Vel'Koz as well. Even though FlyQuest so far ahead, it was so hard for them to close out the game.
Hey, that's fair. To say that it comes down to execution, that's the way it should come down.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You don't want to see a game determined in Champion Select. You want to see it determined by the players and the plays they're making on the stage. It all comes down to our 5th game. Meet us back here after the break to see the conclusion of FlyQuest versus Golden Guardians.
Yo, what the? I cannot farm ICS, bro. Just like on stage.
Yeah,
Oh my god, come on, dude. That's my weak spot. What the?
We beat each other up.
I'm joking.
Santorin already grabbed the kill, and Golden Guardians are forward, left, right, and center. Definitely nearly taken down. Requiem coming out, double kill over to POV.
Careful, Varus. I'm ulti marked her. She's marked. Just kill her. Can we run it down? Yeah, look at this guy. Yeah.
Those water bottles are going to turn to wine if they can manage to hold this one, because it will be nothing shy of a miracle. He might burn down. Back, he actually got him. Looking for Froggen, going to be taken down. Here comes Viper out for Contractz. Viper's looking to find something. Froggen is down. FlyQuest have found the fight so far, but can they finish it here?
And that will close the game. Silver Scrapes, here we come.